Are we on?
Yep, you're on the air.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everybody. I've had this song on my mind. I'm just going to play a little bit. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Welcome everybody to the last in this series, and to the beginning of a new series and new ideas. But anyway, we have a very, very special guest today. So I'm going to whip through some of the final questions that I have here. Well, I'm not going to whip through them. I'm going to address them because I've looked at them, and get on with it that way. Some nice, interesting stuff. And by the way, I wanted to thank you guys who have written in already based on the announcement to change the format of the workshop of the academy. And I really appreciate your thanks and so forth. Juan Carlos, Rick Cutler. Hey Rick, I wanted to. Well, I'm gonna talk about Rick in a little while because Rick asked a question. He's an old friend. Giuliano, thank you so much, and Dave Frank from New York, thank you, and Mariah Parker wrote in. Thank you so much, Mariah, and Alberto Pibiri. Alberto wrote in, and I appreciate all of that, you guys. I really do. So let me get started by just addressing a few of the questions we got. I'm jumping up and down there, Stephen.
Okay, we got you.
First of all, let's take up this one from Marie. Marie from Springfield, Missouri. And Marie expresses that she's finding it a hard time to get motivation because there are no goal points, there are no more gigs to prepare for, and the pandemic has got her kind of in a rut. So what I want to suggest to you, Maria, is kind of a spiritual principle, which is well known from a long, long time ago, which if you apply it, it's a very simple principle. It's a principle of communication, which is, it's the principle of outflow and inflow. So if you know, all of our gigs got canceled, so that kind of predictability kind of dropped out at the bottom. Right now, fortunately, we're beginning to plan for the future again, the near future, which is nice. But if there's nothing coming in that way, the thing to do is to outflow. See, that's an inflow. If you're waiting for someone to call you for a gig or for an opportunity to come, you're waiting for something to come in to you. Well, the balancing principle is outflow, and it turns out that the more you outflow and communicate and make plans and make goals and set targets and get things activated yourself, you'll find that the inflow will increase also. It's a two-way street. See, it's a two-way thing. So that's my suggestion: is to set some goals, even if they're daily goals. Tomorrow, get together with someone, perform, write a song, and find out ways to get your practice realized into some kind of a performance, even if it's for a few people, or if it's for a jam session, or for some gig that you set up, or whatever, or FaceTime, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. But that'll start a flow. Because once you start the flow, then it's easier to keep it going. It's better than a drip every now and again. Then it's, but once you get a flow going and it starts to flow out, there'll definitely be a return for you. Okay, so that's my little cheap advice for you, Marie. Let's move on to Timothy from Alexandria, Virginia. And this is a common one, and we all go through it. Timothy's talking about what advice would you give in handling stage fright and handling mistakes in playing while performing? I think all of us have gone through this at one time or another, that at home you're quite relaxed, you're all by yourself, no mistakes, you're flowing through the thing, and then you get out on a gig or with other musicians or in front of an audience, and some jitters come in. And really, what I personally have learned about that is that there's you become unwilling to fully be comfortable with the environment you're in, or confront the environment you're in. Like when you're at home, you're comfortable. You're in your place. You got your instrument, whatever you're doing, and there's no everything. Comfortable is the term. You're comfortable in your environment. When you're out and you're with others, the thing to do is to, like, I don't know, if it's a gig, get there early, play the piano a bit, have a look at the environment, at the room or the hall or whatever you're playing in, have a chat with the musicians you're going to play with, and it's a matter of gradiently confronting and being there with your environment, which includes the people in it. So I mean that's a short answer in a sense to a very large subject, which is communication. But that is what I have found to be the answer to jitters and stage fright is communication and confronting the environment that you're in. So you can do it on a gradient, walk around and have a look at the environment. That's one thing, you know, have a look at what's there, the people that are there, communicate with your musicians or whoever's there, and try that out. Okay, Timothy? Thanks, man. Okay, so now let's see. I've got a little list now. Let's talk now about. I want to answer Rick's question. Now, Rick Cutler. I hope you're watching, Rick. Rick Cutler holds an interesting memory for me. I haven't seen Rick in a long time, but I'm glad you joined the Academy, Rick, and I'm happy to have you there. Rick Cutler owned the loft that he let me use down in I believe it was downtown in Manhattan. Wow. That he let me use for the first rehearsal of the first Electric Return to Forever with Steve Gadd, Stanley Clarke, Billy Connors. I think Mingo Lewis was there, if I'm not mistaken. And we rehearsed Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy.
Oh my God! Did you record it at all?
No, we didn't record that in rehearsal. No, but woof.
You knocked Miles off the wall with that.
Wow, Miles just jumped off. We got to put Miles back. Sorry, Miles. So Rick, thank you for that. Yeah, it's been a long association. Thank you for being there. Now, Rick had a question actually quite a while ago, which I never really answered. Maybe I did. He says he wants to know about the effects that I used with Miles at the Fillmore gigs years ago. The Echoplex ring modulator. How did I come across them? You know, I don't remember actually how I came across those devices. I was seeing them. I was talking to my buddies about it. I got into devices there for a while, and I know the Echoplex was a lot of fun. It was like this tape thing that you could speed up and do different things with the recording, like a looped recording, and the ring modulator split the sounds up into. I don't have a ring modulator here, but right at the moment.
Were you kind of like that, or not really?
Well, I have a ring modulator somewhere else. It's not hooked up. That's just a delay.
Oh, that's just a delay. Oh,
Anyway, it'd take me a while to find it. Nice. So I don't recall, Rick, but it was a lot of fun putting all of those effects together. It's like kid tinkering with his toys, and it's still that way with synthesizers, you know. Anyway, thanks a lot. Hope you'll be around for this. There'll be more coming in a new form, new workshops and so forth. So, thanks, Rick. All right, now I want to talk about Kobe Arad, originally from Israel, and he's now living in New York. And Kobe sent me. You sent me a track of your band playing Bemsha Swing, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you, man. Smoking. The roads. Did you listen to it too?
No,
you didn't listen.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, very cool and very wild. I like the wildness in it, and you know, good luck to you, man. You know, you don't seem to have any problem with harmonic language, which is what you're speaking about here. You've created a harmonic language. All your own, and you know, keep creating, man. All right, well, thank you. Now, let's see. I want to talk about Laurent. Okay, Laurent. This is Laurent Duval from Paris. And Laurent's question is about augmented triads. He says, I noticed you are playing augmented scales and double augmented triads, and he spells one out. I wish you could explain how and when you are using that particular scale. Well, I don't really remember how I use that scale, but I do recall one tune that I wrote that has that has that, the scale the chords he's talking about is, right, right. And you can build, there's the scale that gets built out of those two chords. And I remember in children's song number 10, in the second part, here they come. Here we go. I'll do that again. That slow. She just goes down in half steps. You know, I realized that when you take a chord and you move it in parallel, like if you take a chord like that and you go, you're playing a melody. Right. But the texture of it is the texture of the voicing. Right. So that's what's happening here. It comes down in half steps. And when there's a melody involved like that, to me, even though the chord is thick, it doesn't sound atonal to me. It sounds tonal to me. Now, if I played those chords just on their own, that might sound a little crunchy. But as soon as I put it in terms of a melody. I don't know why that's so, but it pleases the ear to have the melody like that. Okay, so that's all I got to say about triads. You can investigate and use them. You know. Let me say one other thing about because there was another question here having to do with. I can't locate it right now, but there was another Academy member asked about how do you take the voicings and left-hand constructions, he called them, that you use, and how do you use them in a song? Well, it's the other way around, for me anyway, is that I come with the melody first, and then the harmonies fill themselves in, like the beginning of children's song number 10 is. So the melody is just. Let me get the right notes. Here it is. Still don't have it memorized. Here it is. So the melody is. See, so the melody is quite simple. It's just that, but underneath it is all of this flourishing and harmonic stuff. And then that motif continues in different harmonies. Right. So the melody is. And then. The melody is just a thing, but it doesn't sound like much just on its own, but together with the rhythm and what's underneath. So the motif is da 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 ba da bo da da, and then it continues. Actually, that's the motif. I'm analyzing my own tune now. That's the motif of the whole piece. And it changes. And again, here again. Transition. Now it comes down in half steps rather than whole steps. And then ends with the same motif. So that's what I wanted to show you. The voicing follows the melody. It was the point of that demonstrating the harmony in these cases follows the melody. So okay, let's see. I got lost there. Oh yeah, the triads, and then okay, one other. I want to, anyway, Laurent, thank you very much. One other is Owen from Zimbabwe. And Owen wants to know about, once you've learned to solo, he says, what's your usual next step? Do you copy and paste the phrases you like into your own solos? And, well, I don't think of it that way, actually. I mean, once I learn anything, it just becomes part of what I know. And then if I'm improvising, I'm not analyzing whether I'm using it, or maybe I am using as parts of it. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of that in just a moment on the next thing. And then when you transcribe, do you also transcribe the left hand and the pianist's comping? So when you transcribe, the idea of transcription is just to learn, to get to duplicate and understand what someone else is doing. So your transcription should be helpful to you, whatever it is. One hand, two hands, a couple of notes, a whole solo, whatever it is, it should be along whatever your goal is to want to learn a particular thing or understand how a particular piece of music is constructed, You want to learn what are those phrases, and so you slow it down, you transcribe it. So transcription is a good thing. It's ear training, and it's inflow and outflow. It's a good thing. Okay, Owen, I hope that helps. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about. We got three different members who I would like to talk about the. Let me see. We start with Fernando. Right, here we go. So now Fernando wanted to ask about the song "You're Everything," because he says he likes the harmonies. Could I talk about it? And then in the same time, we have Nicholas from Hamburg asking about. Nicholas is the one that asked about left-hand voicings, right? And she says, I can imagine when you improvise, you already know most of the structures that you play. I wouldn't say so. My question is, how much do you choose spontaneously from the set of notes? Well, you know, when I'm improvising and playing, I don't really think about it that way. Once I learn a technique, I guess it's there. And then when I'm improvising, whatever is coming out is just coming out, because I decide not to know it. That's what improvising is. You decide not to know what you're going to play, and you just start playing, right? And actually the analysis stops at that point when you're improvising. The other point about improvising, using that term to express living in the moment, is the fact that you don't need a reason for laying the notes down or the feelings down that you're laying down. You don't need a reason. Like, why did I play that? I don't know. Who cares? I thought that was kind of interesting. Actually, I'm trying to learn to play more melodies with my left hand. All right, so Fernando, and then Nicholas from Hamburg. Yeah, right. We're talking about structures and how much do you choose spontaneously. So I'm gonna use, and then one more, which is Alberto. Alberto wrote in again. Nice hearing from you, Alberto, and was asking about You're Everything to demonstrate how to switch scale sets, is the way he puts it, over You're Everything. Oh, also before we continue, I wanna thank you for sending in the things on your album, the tracks on your album. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to them. Smoking, man. Just keep on with it. Really, really good. Thank you for sharing with me. So for Fernando, Nicholas, and Alberto, I've decided to take the song "You're Everything" and kind of break it down a little bit and get into it in terms of how it's structured, what the voicings are, and I've never done this to a song of mine. So, I mean, when I wrote this, I wasn't thinking in the terms that I'm going to be expressing now, but just to try to demonstrate and answer questions about how do you come up with voicings and so forth. You know, first of all, there's an intro to Your Everything, which is. See, I'm sort of these voicings are. I'm starting with a simple melody and a simple left hand. Sorry. Basically the bass notes. Right, and then if I want to amplify that or put into a rhythm, other things happen. Right, that's one version. Do that again. And on and on with that structure. Okay, and then the tune starts. Now when I wrote this tune, I wrote it on a Fender Rhodes. I wrote it on this sound. And I wrote it for I wrote it for a unison with the Rhodes and the flute. So I didn't put too much voicing in the right hand, and I was just kind of playing bass notes in the left hand. Like real simple. So the left hand just sort of outlined the harmonies. So nothing much to that, and then some chords there. I'll do that bridge again. And then I went back to single lines. And so forth. So now to break it down a little bit further, I'll go back over here. It's more comfortable. I guess if I'm going to play rubato, there's a lot of different choices of voicings. There's one. One of the ideas of voicing that I think about occasionally is how to put a sound together where the notes don't repeat in right hand and left hand. So, for instance, if you play, we have these two notes repeating, and also this is repeating. So we have a lot of repeated notes. So if we take out the repeated notes, it's just that, or actually it's just that. So this there's a voicing without repeated notes. And then the second voicing is like a D flat chord, but if I voice it like that with then there's no repeated notes. So the first two chords, first three chords, just one idea, are right. Rather than, oh, that they both sound good. You could go close like that. Let's see. All right. Got lost there. Okay, so here's like the ideas of scales. So let's see if I can roll through that. Right. So that's sort of one way to go through it, which is to kind of stay within the chord structure. Then I'm often asked, well, how do you pick scales for each chord? And the fun begins is once you break out of that and you just start rolling and skating around with the harmonic structure moving, but with the melody doing other things. Let me try that again. Okay. Let me try that again. Do that one more time. Trying to skate around with half stabs. Try that another version. See, after a while, so maybe that gives you some idea. I'm trying to see what else I could show you about that. And back to the simplicity of the melody. Let me do that over here. Let me move in a little closer. Okay, Stephen. It is fun to run through this tune because you can skate all around it. That's a digital road. Sounds pretty good.
Sounds really good. Back to the original melody. Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. On the original, there wasn't even really a so-called piano solo, was there? I mean, on the original.
No, the original track there were no solos.
Yeah.
It was just melody, a vocal. I arranged it like very brief and very short.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's great to hear you blow on it like that. My God.
It took a while to be able to negotiate the changes, but they're fun to play on.
Yeah.
So I hope that was some help, guys, on your everything, and thank you very much for asking about it. So now, let's. I want to get ready for our special guest. Is our special guest around? Let's see if he's around.
Check here, see if he's around.
Hey, Chick.
Yeah.
We did have somebody who you answered a question
Yeah.
earlier. Timothy Lee had written in about stage fright,
Okay.
and he just wrote back.
Yeah.
And he said,
This is from Timothy.
Timothy.
Yeah.
He said, "Thanks, Chick. Your answer to my question on stage fright was very validating to me. Before my last performance, everything you suggested, such as to go out and check the location and connect with the environment, was perfect in helping me deal with stage fright.
Oh.
In addition to a ton of practice to really know the piece. Excellent advice. Many thanks."
Oh, good, good. I'm glad that was helpful. That's so pleasing to hear, because that is I forgot to add that one factor into stage fright and jitters. It's definitely getting in touch with your environment, but even more basic than that is knowing the piece that you're going to play. Like if you're not sure about the piece that you're going to play, then wow, that you can confront the environment all you want, but I could see how you would be nervous. So that's a matter of getting in a good preparation habits and so forth. So good, Timothy. I'm happy for that. Let's see now. What can I do for you until I'm so excited to have our special guest that I didn't prepare anything. Let me play something. Let me play something. Let's see. Oh, I know. Stevie Wonder. is a Stevie tune,
Yeah, beautiful.
Stevie Wonder.
He's logging in one more song.
Huh?
He's logging in right now, so you can.
Oh, okay, all right. So our special guest is getting ready to come in, and what I'm going to do is,
Oh, one thing, Chick, remember we have also that intro video
Yeah.
tonight.
what's that?
The intro video we will also need to play. So
Oh, yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, right.
But we just want to make sure he's there first. Then we'll do the.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's see now. Let me practice a little bit. This is a warm-up tune I do. Try that again. A little slower. That phrase there. There we go. Here I have a different fingering. Instead of 3-1, I put 5-2. It's easier. Once more. Yeah, that came better. Okay, now the last part. Uh-huh. That's tricky. Isn't-
it's good. But we're almost there.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. That might give you a clue. Yeah.
It's a good time to play the intro video, though.
So how are we doing over there, gentlemen?
It looks like we're there. He's there. The latest.
Okay.
So at any time, I'll just start rolling the intro video.
Okay, so I'm gonna do my little intro before we do our intro.
Intro to the intro.
Yeah, intro to the intro.
Okay, cool.
So, given that this was kind of a special workshop, in it being the last in this series, and so much fun that we've had, you know, I thought one of the thoughts I thought, who would our Academy members most want to see me have as a guest? And immediately, this gentleman and friend came to mind. I wanted to say one thing about our relationship, which is that back when I first became aware of this man, he was working with Donald Byrd's group, then came through Mongo Santa Maria's group, and then became the pianist for, I don't know, 5, 6 or more years in the great Miles Davis Quintet with Tony Williams, Ron Carter, and Wayne Shorter. And during that whole period, he was kind of a mentor to me, unknowingly kind of. I mean, I would just watch him and listen to him, and he became a touch point of inspiration and a source of mind opening for me. And then we began collaborating in the mid-70s, and we became friends. So as a mentor and as a teacher, and then as a collaborator, and then as a friend, and of course as one of the great artists of our times, I think, who has changed the music world, influenced so many people, and what a great way to conclude our workshop. So before I introduce him, we have a little clip. I hope you're going to like this little clip. Well, let's play about 2 or 3 minutes of the clip. Okay, we don't have to play the whole thing, but keep going until I tell you to fade out. Okay, here's the clip as an intro to my special guest.
Piano duo by Mr. Herbie Hancock and Mr. Chick Corea.
Herbie
Hey,
Hancock.
hey, Chick, how you doing, man?
Oh my goodness. Nice to see you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Did you check out that clip that I just
No,
played?
I wasn't able to see it from here, so I have no idea what it was about. But
Oh, we just played as an intro. We just played a couple of minutes of our duet at the Mount Fuji Jazz Festival, playing Liza in 1978.
oh, that was a killer one. I remember that. That was a hot one.
Yeah, that was pretty hot.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
man, you're
it's been,
looking good, man. Thank
you're
you so
looking
much
great
for
too.
joining.
Hey,
Yeah, I feel. Yeah, man. Gee, and the Academy members. I said as an intro that if they would think of one person that they would like me to have as a guest, I know that they all raised their hands, man. And I can't see them physically, but I know they all raised their hands and wanting to see you. So this is a big thrill, man. Thank you for joining us. And gee,
oh, it's
uh,
great pleasure for me. Actually, I've been watching the show. I've been watching for the past hour, and it's great. And
oh,
I'm looking at your fingers going wild on the piano, and I'm wondering how's he doing that.
look who's talking. Right, look who's talking, man. Wow. So I thought of one thing. If you agree, might be a really nice way to start our chat, which is and it was something I'm would be very interested in, and I know the Academy members would be very interested in. I would like to know, like a little bit, not as much as you want to tell about how you came, like really the very beginnings, like how you came to, like you like myself have spent your whole life with music and art. So how did that begin, and then how did the piano enter in, and then how did the electric instruments enter in? That kind of very
Okay.
beginning to the piano to the electric instruments.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you that exactly what happened. Ever since I can remember, even before I thought anything about music, I've always been curious, and I was always trying to figure out how things worked. How does that clock work? How do watches work? What is that thing called electricity? How does that work? And so I was always interested in trying to figure out what was doing what. And so I would take things apart, get me a screwdriver or hammer or whatever it was to
Yeah.
take it apart to figure it out. So I had that. And then when I was about 6 years old, my best friend who lived in an apartment in the same building that I lived in, of course, with my parents, um, he his parents bought him a piano. And my mother noticed that whenever I would go to his apartment, the first thing I asked about was the piano. And wait, can everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
Anyway, I guess somebody was calling me on the phone, and it wasn't Bernie Courage.
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, so my mother noticed that every time I would go to my best friend's apartment, the first thing I would ask about is, can I play your piano? Now, I didn't know how to play piano, so I have no idea what I did. I can't remember that far back, to know what I may have done on the piano. I'm sure he taught me
Uh,
chopsticks. I'm sure he taught me that. But
uh,
but then later on, um, later on, yeah, I'm trying to get these people to stop calling me. Isn't that funny? my phone wants to ring now because I'm on your show. anyway, let me get back to the topic at hand. So then, when I was 7 years old, my parents bought me a piano, and that was like incredible for me. That because my mother noticed I seemed to be interested in it, they both decided to buy me a piano for my birthday. That was my birthday.
What kind of stuff were you playing at 7? Do you remember?
That was a song that my older brother and my younger sister and I wrote. It was something like,
Oh,
it was called
yeah.
Summer in the Country.
Oh yeah, cool. So you were writing, you were making melodies.
Yeah, maybe that happened after maybe a year after I started taking lessons. Then I had a better idea of what the instrument was about. But I've always had this interest in science, which was that first influence, and in music, and the piano in particular. So when it came time after high school for me to decide what I wanted my major to be in college, first thing I thought about, well, okay, if I major in music, will I be able to get a job after I graduate from college? Maybe, but will I be able to get a job if I major in science or engineering was the choice? And I said, oh, definitely I could get a job. I said, okay, I'm majoring in engineering. So I did that for 2 years in college, physics and the whole thing, calculus and so forth. But I was spending so much more time with music that at the end of my 2 years as an engineering major, I switched to be a music major. So I got my degree in music.
Chicago, right?
Yeah. Well, I went to school in Iowa, actually, at Grinnell College in Iowa. And then, of course, every summer I would go home to Chicago to spend with my folks. And I also worked as a mailman, mail carrier. That was my summer job when I go back. Yeah.
That's cool.
I did that for about maybe 2 or 3 years. Actually, it was 3 years I did that. Yeah.
I was a soda jerk.
Yeah, really? You were soda? You worked in a
I worked at a pharmacy behind. Yeah, in a kind of a drugstore, and serving ice cream and making floats and stuff.
Oh,
selling aspirin.
Actually, my first job was as a cashier when I was about maybe 15 or 16. I got hired to be a cashier. But the guy who owned the store, it was just a neighborhood store, he said all the cashiers have to learn how to push the buttons on the cash register that would not register on the receipt. So he taught us how to cheat. So, and I was not happy about that. And I like that first day I went there when it was like an audition. Of course, I'm going to use that word, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so when I left there, I went home and I said, I got to ask my father, what can I do? I don't want to lose the job, but I don't want to cheat these people either. That was not in me. So I went home and asked my father, Daddy, what should I do? And my father said, well, Herbie, this is something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. I was so disappointed. I said, no, I was depending on my father to give me the definitive answer what I should do.
All right.
So the next day I went to work, and then I came home and I said, Daddy, I quit the job. You know what my father said? He said, Herbie, I'm so proud of you. And I realized for the first time that my father trusted me. And
Ah,
I have never forgotten that. It was
all right.
like turning a corner in my life. I never thought about that before, but to have proof that my father trusted me.
Right, and you trusted yourself, because that's one of the basic principles of the academy, is for a musician to be able to think for himself.
That's exactly what I had to do. That's what my father made me do. He made me
Right,
think
right,
for myself and make a choice about my own behavior and how I am to deal with people other than myself.
yeah,
Was I going to respect them or only respect my own selfish interests? And so I proved to him,
that's a great lesson, man. That's a fantastic story. Yeah, yeah, and that really is the basic principle of this academy and of my life, and I don't know, I mean, to be able to,
yeah,
the
yeah,
musicians always want to find their own voice, and in order to do
yeah,
that, you have to be able to make your own judgments and make your own call.
yeah. It's so important. The great thing about jazz, though, is that it allows you to express yourself. And people who have some problems with their own uh, self-respect, um, they can find that playing jazz, really helps to change that view of themselves, so that they finally are able to embrace themselves. And that's one of the greatest things I found about jazz.
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of this window where it's allowed to express to enjoy the human right of freedom of expression. It's
Yeah.
like we.
Yeah, right.
That was the beginning of one of our duets, right, by the way.
Yeah, I recognize the same notes, exactly the same notes. But we did all that too, right?
That's right. Talk about freedom of expression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crawling under the piano and on top of the piano.
That's one thing about you, and I hope about me, is that we never got stuck in one era of music. We were always able to look at other means of expression and and decide to explore them, you know.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are afraid to explore. They find something that's comfortable and they're afraid to explore something else. But that's where the lifeblood is, because everything outside of you is actually inside of you too. So it's
Hmm.
part of your,
If you let it in.
yeah, but it's part of your being anyway, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
But you're right. You can shut it out. Doesn't mean it ain't there. But you can
And,
shut it out. You won't be able to recognize it, and you won't be able
hmm.
to use it. You can only use things that you actually try, that you explore.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
that's how
yeah,
we
yeah.
expand.
Yeah. So then you moved on. You moved on. I remember when I was in New York in the '60s, I would see you appear here and there, and I remember an eventful Monday night at Birdland where it was like they would have Monday night jam sessions, and you were in there with Joe Chambers. I think it might have been Bobby Hutcherson was playing too.
Oh
But
yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah.
re, what I remember about you and Chambers is that you guys started breaking down two of the big foundations that you're not supposed to break down. One was the harmony of a song,
Yeah.
and the other one was the actual rhythm and tempo of a song. of like where the form is. You know, like now here's the bridge is over here, and then the last 8 is over here. And I saw you guys starting to break that down, and that blew my mind. I thought, there it is. That opened me right up, man.
Well, I'll never forget that time because actually Bobby Hutcherson was kind of a new guy from California in New York at that time.
Yeah.
And he was very young. You know, he was young. He's younger than I am, right? Not that many years younger than we are, but
Yeah.
I remember being at Birdland, but that kind of exploratory bent that continued with myself and with you, of course. It started around that time. I mean,
Right.
exploring jazz, other ways to look at the music.
Right, and then the amazing period of I don't know however many years with the Miles Davis Quintet with that quintet that you guys had going. That was like brought to me in my mind, that brought music, the jazz music and music in general, to like a point where you'd have to do something else. Like you brought it to improvisation and forms to a point where, okay, if you're doing that, then what's the next step out of that? See, it was like, to me, it was sort of the end of a road. I saw it.
Yeah,
that way, and that was very inspiring to me. And I stepped in your shoes right at the end of the road.
Oh,
I didn't step in. Wait a minute, I didn't step in your shoes. What I did was
you stepped on my shoes, and you made a whole new, and you created a whole new path. That's what you did.
Wow, that was a period. So that period of freedom of expression plus the forms and the compositions and Wayne's tunes and what Miles was doing with them and what you were. I saw you as being you were the one in the quintet who knitted it all together. Like if it was all rolling like fine, you would sometimes just leave it go, not touch the keyboard. But then there were things to knit together. And you would be the cohesor. You were the cohesive element in the group, and I learned an incredible lot from that.
Well, you know whose fault that was? It was Tony Williams' fault. I remember when we were going to the Plug Nickel to just have a sound check, and Tony said he and I were in the same car, and Tony said, you know, we've been playing together and it's gotten to be too easy to kind of make it happen. We have to do something to change that, or else it's just going to be stagnant. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. And he said, okay, from now on, I'm going to play anti-music. I said, anti-music. And then I understood what he was talking about. So I said, okay, Tony, I'm going to join you. I'm going to play anti-music too. And when we got to the club and we saw Wayne Shorter, we told Wayne the conclusion that we came to and why. And Wayne didn't say,
he loved the idea.
He didn't actually say anything. He just went, you know, but he completely joined it as soon as he put the horn to his mouth.
Right.
And we even told Ron. Ron knew what we were going to do. But what was scary is that we walked into the club and we saw a bunch of huge professional tape recorders, you know, big kind that are like 3.5 feet high, you know, which is what they were back in those days, right? And it turned out that the record label was going to record us that week.
That was the Plug Nickel week?
That was the Plug Nickel week.
Oh, right.
That was the first time we ever played like that. Was that? That was the experiment.
I know that whole series. I listened through to it several times. It's a wild series of music.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
know.
wild development.
And Wayne was killing, right? And Tony was killing. It was amazing. But Miles, we never told Miles we were going to do that, and he never questioned us. He never objected to it. He just let it happen.
He took it in stride, and he made something of it, didn't he?
He absolutely did. He joined it in his. He put the glue in there, you know. But I didn't know whether you knew about that story or not. But that's really
No,
that happened.
that's so interesting. That's so interesting. You know, Plug Nickel was my first gig. What year was that? Do you recall 60,
Oh, that might have been
64, 60?
65 or 65 or 66, I think. But I left in 68, and
Right,
that's
right.
when you joined.
Yeah.
And it might have been 67, but my guess is it was 1966.
Because Plug Nickel was the first gig I did with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and we drove from New York City to get there. We were 3 hours late for the gig, and and the audience was all waiting for the band to play. Chuck Mangione, Frank Mitchell on tenor, Reggie Johnson on bass.
Yeah.
I remember the Plug Nickel from that engagement. So when I heard you guys during that series of Plug Nickel recordings, I could hear and feel the ambience of the club. I was right there the whole time. You know, this set, then the next set, and Miles was in and around, and you guys were like,
Oh
you
yeah.
were trying all kind of stuff.
We were trying all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And it was almost as though whatever you would expect to happen at a given moment in the music because of a setup, that would be the thing we wouldn't do
Yeah.
because we had to break our own conventions, and it worked.
Yeah, it certainly did, man.
Evolved into something that's after that, you know. But that was that was the week of the experiment. Yeah.
So would you mind then taking us from that point right there, because at that point I think you weren't particularly into electronic instruments or electronic keyboards, or were you?
That was just the Fender Rhodes piano. Synthesizers didn't really come in till after that. I didn't I didn't even have any synthesizers on my records until 1972, 72, because I hired a guy to actually add an intro to one song on one of the what we call the M1 DC band records. And
Yeah.
he played that intro, which blew me away. And I hired him to play in a band after that. So it was Patrick Gleason, and he
Oh,
toured
right,
with.
right.
And then I would ask him a lot of questions about the synth because he played synthesizer, and I would ask him a lot of questions. But some things I already understood because I was an engineering major, so I understood about physics. I understood about
All right. That's where all of that intersected. I see now.
that's where it
Hey,
was.
hey,
And you know what the main thing is? I never thought that I'd ever be able to satisfy both things that I really felt a love to, which were science and music, until synthesizers came along. Then I had both because I still had the acoustic piano, but then I had the science of of the technology to go along with it. That was that perfect marriage for me.
I remember on our last world tour, and we talked on the phone, and well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna and you said, well, I think I'm gonna bring my Korg with me.
Right.
And I said, really? Oh, because I had kind of let them go at that point. And you
Right.
said, well, it's okay. You don't have to, don't mean that you have to bring your instrument. But when I envisioned you on the stage with the piano and your Korg, I thought, I got to come up to the plate here. And so I went and I got my motif out, and I did what I could with it. And we had a ball playing both the synthesizers and the piano together.
Oh yeah.
That was memorable.
That was great. In Italy, we were in what's the name of the festival that we played? Wasn't that in Italy where we did that?
We did that all over the world, man.
Right. But the first place was
in Perugia.
Perugia. Yeah, right. Exactly. That was
Perugia.
the first place we did that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see. I've always marveled how you do that. I go into the synth world, and then I kind of get lost in it, and I forget where I'm going sometimes. That I forget like where am I supposed to be doing, and I find myself trying to figure the instrument out. How do you approach? Like, that's a technical question, but how do you approach that? Like you said, you have a new synth. Like what do you do? You just tinker, or do you read the manual, or what do you do?
Well, the first thing is, since we had this pandemic, the virus was out there, I had to figure out, since I won't be able to do concerts, how can I turn this into something positive for me? So I decided, okay, what am I going to do with my time? And I decided, why don't I learn more about these instruments? Why don't I learn more about the technological side of programming and some of the new plugins, and get more inside those things than I had before, because I never really had that much time to do it as much as I would have liked to. Plus, I was a little lazy, and I'd rather have fun playing duets with Chick Corea. That was.
Well, when we were doing that tour, you seemed to have a pretty good facility with all of the laptop you had and the ways of switching. You had a whole thing set up there.
Oh yeah, but I had worked a lot on putting that whole thing together. By that time I'd been doing it for a few years, several years, as a matter of fact, and I had a particular kind of setup that I was very comfortable with, and I didn't actually have to move that much except the keys, a little bit of things, but not that much.
Yeah. I see. So you've been though the science world came together with the music world in the synth world. And actually, you've kind of been, I don't know, you've kind of been making great use of that expression for a long time now.
Oh yeah. It's something I really enjoy doing. And I wish my studio were big enough for me to put the acoustic piano in it, but the studio is not large enough for that 9-foot grand, and so I have synthesizers in here. This is the place, right? You can see this one here.
All right, yeah.
That's a new one.
I remember that room.
Now, this one actually is a new Korg. It's called the Wave State. And it's really incredible. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
The one that you saw, let me see if I can get the picture on it. Yeah, it's this one. This is the Korg Chrome.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
that we did on tour. Anyway, that was fun. We had some great times, didn't we, Chick?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to more, man. And there's something. I don't know if you've ever experienced explored it. I explored a little bit with the electric band, but I don't have it set up right now. I should have set it up to. But if you have a MIDI, a concert that's got MIDI capability, like the Disclavia does that I use,
Right.
then you can trigger synths with it.
Right,
And
I know.
and I've been making some use of that, especially with washy, stringy, big, thick sounds that you can bring in and out as you play, and gives you like this power of an orchestra. That's something we could mess with next time.
I would love to do that. That would be great. Because I have some new software that because I have not only the Core Chronos, but with my computer, I've got new plug-in software, and they kind of integrate together, and I'm able to kind of paint in a lot of ways that I couldn't before. With software that comes from different people, so different people have different approaches, and so it just gives you like a wide choice of of sounds and sonic possibilities.
Yeah. Are you headed toward a project
Oh yeah,
with this idea? I bet you are.
actually, you won't believe this. I've been working on a project for 6 years. That's like unbelievable. 6 years, and it's not out yet. Well, the COVID-19 kind of changed everything for a while, but yes, I've been working on something. As a matter of fact, we're going to be working on some of it Friday of next week. Terrace Martin is the main producer for this project. He's a great producer, wonderful, amazing alto saxophonist, and he's much younger than I am, so he's like into social media a lot more than I am,
Yeah.
and he knows how things work in the 21st century. So we kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and stimulates me, and I come up with some things, and he feels it stimulates him too. So it's been a lot of fun. I think you were saying something about working with young people, and I love doing that. I love doing that because they
Oh
inspire
yeah,
me.
yeah. You know what's interesting, I find, especially doing this academy, and in many other ways, in performances with the audiences that come. I'm sure you've noticed this too, which is that the jazz tradition that we grew up in has really found a very solid way into the youth of the planet. There's this little kid named his dad named him Jazz. I met him in was it Hungary or
Something like that.
somewhere in Europe, and he had been following my music. At the time he was like 4 years old, and so I said, yeah, bring him backstage on after the gig, and when the door opened with him and his parents, this little kid, he saw me, he recognized me, he came running and jumped up on me, and then he sat down at the piano and played Your Everything.
Whoa!
And then I've been staying in touch with him. Then he's playing the drums, but it's not just that. It's just like that's happening so much, and I'm so happy to see that because it's I was trying to show give my viewpoint about how to when when the Academy members talk about style, they want to learn how do you learn this style, and they use terms like funk and blues and jazz and classical and whatever. And I tried to change them from using their these terms to check out music in terms of culture. In other words, what cultures of Earth, and from Africa, from Puerto Rico, from South America, from India, from Japan, and if you trace the musics in terms of cultures and see how that comes together, it's a much easier way to follow what we try to term as style. But now, what all came together in the United States that we grew up in, it's everywhere on the planet.
Yeah, it's like a garden of flowers, and each one has its own attributes. But if there's only one, it would be kind of boring. But seeing all the different types, they're so beautiful to see this bouquet. That's what the world is, a bouquet. And you know what? You know what's showing us that we are a family? Every human being on the planet is part of one gigantic family. COVID-19 is teaching us that. If we would only open our eyes and our ears to listen, we need to learn that we are a family so that we appreciate each other and what each of us brings to the table. It's all about respecting each and every human being, because every human being is worthy of respect, even if they don't realize it. We need to learn those lessons in order to move ahead on the 21st century, because that's going to make everything wonderful, including the music. Because it's us that have to do it. Human beings have to do that.
That's right, and I think I agree with that totally, and I think that music is a great way to spread that message, because being a family on Earth, it consists of however many hundreds of languages, however many hundreds and thousands maybe of strains of genetic strains and so forth, and that continues. That in every present moment, that kind of coming together just continues. New families, new cultures are continually coming together, and I think because the music goes beyond political boundaries and national boundaries and age boundaries and color boundaries, and it's the perfect medium. Music and art in general are the perfect mediums to just put the message out, to keep on communicating, like you've been doing for a lifetime, man.
And you too. Like I commend you for doing that. I see that so often in music and in the people that you hire, and the kind of music that you play. That's great. We need to continue to get that message out there, and I'm sure you will,
man.
And
I'm sure you will, man. Yeah, I'm sure you will. Once we get this technology so that we can play in sync and it can sound good, that'll be the next step.
Man,
now, how about applying some science to that?
I was just thinking, maybe because the speed of light right now is as fast as possible speed, at least as far as we know with the technology we know. I was thinking about, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could embed the frequencies of sound inside the frequency of light, and have sound travel, have it encoded inside the frequency of light, and have it travel at the speed of light. Then we come a little closer to being able to do things at great distances and have them be in sync.
We could probably play a fast tempo and it'd sound spot on at that speed. Right now, the lag is about a third to a half a second, no matter what you do.
Yeah,
And
I know.
yeah. Well, I like that idea. I hope there's some scientist out there that's going to check that out and apply it, and then come with something real. Because science fiction and scientific thought usually precedes the actual invention. You have to think of it first.
Yeah, but maybe when we get to quantum computers and we'll be able to get a little closer to these kind of questions that could never be answered before.
Okay, well, I'm looking to you, man. Oh man,
Yeah, it's great seeing you, Chick, and great hearing you. I
yeah,
love the things that you were doing earlier in the show of answering the questions that people had sent in, and how you answered them. That was really fascinating to me. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. I remember we did a couple of master classes together, and we gave our answers tend to be similar.
Yeah, that is true.
Tend to be similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. You use the term in the moment, and it's an important term. I sometimes use the term present time, the present moment, the environment, the moment, and we're all trying to be here in it as to be as bright and awake and as effective as we can. Man, Herbie, you're my mentor, my teacher, my friend, my collaborator, and you're an amazing human being, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Chick. I feel exactly the same way about you, and it's interesting that when you left Mongo Santa Maria's band, I was the one that replaced you, and then when I left Miles's band, it didn't occur in exactly the same way, but you replaced me, right? So we've had this kind of interaction even before we knew each other as well as we do now, and
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's going to
Okay,
lifetime after lifetime, right?
That's right.
Not gonna
And then
finish
and then I get a call from Herbie Hancock, and he's in the recording studio, and he calls me and he says, "Chick, listen to this," and he plays a track, what he's working on. You played a track that you were working on. He said, "Did you write that?"
Right.
It was your tune.
Yeah, it sounded so much like a Chick Corea tune, and I said, it must have been something that Chick played that. So I had to call you up to ask you that, and you said,
Well,
no, it just somehow it must have eluded me. That's what you said, something like that,
Well, I've got the Herbie Hancock universe in my heart and in my universe, man. It's just a part of me. What can I tell you?
Yeah, thank you, Chick.
So if you hear those licks coming out and you hear one of your licks, I'm sorry, man. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, well, I do that all the time too. There are Chick Corea licks that come out of my fingers, and I can't help it. I mean, you're a force to be reckoned with. That's why it's such a great honor to get a chance to play with you, and now to be on your show on the Chick Corea Academy. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, how wonderful!
Appreciate it.
How wonderful, man! Please give my love to Gigi and to Jessica and all the family. Man, I'm so happy you joined us, and we'll stay in touch. I want to find out what you're doing. I got to look over your shoulder and copy all those next licks that are coming out.
Yeah, give my best to Gail, and your children out there and so forth. That they, I love all of them.
Okay, man.
Part of
Lots
my
of
life.
love.
Lots
Me
of love.
too, man.
Yeah.
Lots
Thank
of
you.
love.
Thank you, Chick.
Take care.
All
All right.
Yeah, you
See
too.
you.
Bye.
Woo!
All right.
That was so nice. That was so really, really cool.
That was a great
Yeah,
conversation.
that
Wow.
was really nice. Thanks, Herbie, so much for joining me. I think, well, I'm going to do a little wrap up now with you guys. I mean, I don't know if there's much else to say. Maybe we can talk just a little bit with Jordan. Jordan's been helping with the Academy communication. He's here tonight, and why don't you come on? Can you come on by the microphone so that both you and Kirby could talk?
Yeah, come on over.
And we can talk a little bit about the new format of the Academy.
Right.
And I'm going to try to let me stand up for a little bit, Stephen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Stand up a little bit too.
Okay. That's
yeah,
fine.
I mean for the both of you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, guys, in my write-up that Jordan posted, you know, this has been a very big learning experience for me to see how to try to be of help. It was a big validation for Herbie to say that some of my explanations were interesting, and when I hear that you've had good result, that really keeps me going. But like I said, my main hat is to perform and to write, and I have composing commitments now. I have touring commitments that are now fortunately beginning to come together, and plus the fact that I feel that in these 23 workshops that we've done, have pretty well laid down whatever is my basic idea about music. It's kind of there. There's nothing technical about it. It's just very simple. I keep reiterating the same things over and over again. They're just basic things. Not that we can't continue to have a discourse and continue to explore music. That's endless. But because of that, I think the weekly these weekly live workshops are going to morph into an occasional workshop that we're going to do. I think what I'm going to do is take these subjects like improvisation, composition, performing with a band, playing the piano, various other subtopics, and take each one and turn it into a kind of a particular course that we can put together, steps and drills and things that you can do and look at that can result in a greater ability in that particular area. And we're gonna put our time into that. And also, just to let you know that this wonderful team that we have set up with Stephen on video, on camera, and Bernie Kirsch that makes this great sound happen. Kirby coordinating from the studio here, and Jordan coordinating the Academy members and so forth. Bob Chetty on broadcast. And we've got Tony in there on switching. Is Tony there today? On switching. It's a great team that we put together, and we plan on doing what was my original dream for this studio was to put on performances like we did the other night with the solo piano show, but with my friends. When the restrictions begin to lift and people can travel more easily and safely, I'm going to have my friends down here, and we're going to put together ensembles and new music and present music from the studio. Plus, we're going to do occasional workshops, another workshop with particular questions. And one thing I want to encourage you to do, because the Academy is not going away, Academy is going to be there. You'll see all of the details that Jordan listed of how it's going to work now. But you can continue to write in your comments and queries and ideas, and I will certainly look them over. And I'm going to find ways to answer them, either with another workshop that we can plan. In addition to, we talked about doing this Zoom.
That's right.
You can put, we could probably put the whole academy on a Zoom.
Yeah, certainly. You know, there's that ability to use Zoom to speak to a number of participants at one time, and the nice thing about that is it's interactive as well. If you're not familiar with doing a sort of Zoom lecture, everybody can actually appear on the screen, and there's a feature where if at some point you want somebody to answer or ask a question, they can raise their hand, and there's a program with Zoom that automatically detects you raising your hand, and then that person can then be called upon, and their audio will be heard. So it's kind of like you can be in a room with, you know, hundreds of people, basically,
Right.
Chick. And,
So
yeah.
that will be more like using that tech will be more like a chat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not so much with this setup.
Right.
This is a different setup because it's more elaborate with great piano microphones and the video and so forth. The Zoom will make it easy to have a chat. So if I do a workshop on a particular subject, then the chat will be on a particular subject rather than an open forum of just ask a question and answer it. It'll be covering a particular subject. So the workshop can be viewed first and the drill's done, and then we can have the Zoom conference. So that's another thing that we can do. So keep in touch and keep on writing in questions and comments, any wins and successes that you have. And we will definitely be in touch. There's more to come, so don't go away. We're just changing the format, and I'm excited about it because I'm going to take all that we've done and try to consolidate it into some steps that can be more focused. Because you know, I realize everyone out there has a unique universe, unique goals and questions, and also not everyone is at the same level of ability. So one thing I might address would there be certain group of people that would be interested, and then if I break it down into something simpler, could be just another group. So we'll see how that pans out, how that works out in terms of skill levels and that sort of thing. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
See you soon. Do well. Stay healthy. Keep productive. Keep creating.